Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the McDonCast, the funnest podcast in town. Sam?
The only podcast around.
It's been a while.
And we're in a totally different place.
Yes, where we normally record, it's had a massive pipe burst under the ground.
Nice.
And now the place is flooding a little bit. So we're here.
Yeah, so we're at my apartment.
So we're back at the classic Sam's apartment.
You guys recognize the set, the broken blinds.
Yup.
The small
the
collection of amiibos over there.
The whacked out camera setup.
The cameras that can see each
We're
other.
We're recording this at 1:30 in the morning.
It's only 1:30 a.m.
So you know, I have this shocking amount of energy right now.
Yeah, I
think
also
it's
had
the pure
work today.
Yeah, I think
I'm pretty sure I'm sick. So that too.
I'm running off the pure adrenaline of finding out where I live is flooding from the bottom of the ground.
Very cool. Well, maybe if the room that pipe was in wasn't bulbous for some reason, maybe it would.
Let's not get into it.
We'll not get into that right now. Anyways.
So it's been a while since we recorded. Honestly, mostly because there hasn't been a lot going on.
It's also been kind of an insane month. Like, we've just been so busy with either family events going on.
Yep.
We've got the house is exploding.
Yep.
I've got classes, and I'm booked every week to week, basically for every single hour until Friday afternoons when I have work. So I
had to watch a season of Breaking Bad.
Still haven't finished Breaking Bad.
You still haven't finished Breaking Bad.
Is it still on Netflix?
It is still on Netflix.
Okay, and then I'll finish it.
I watched 2 seasons in 1 week.
I
did very little for a few weeks there to just watch Breaking Bad.
We also watched the Percy Jackson show.
Oh, we did.
Finished.
Echo came out. I think while we were gone.
We started talking about Echo, and we
didn't have time to watch any of it.
We can give our little bit of thoughts on that later on.
But again, news has been super slow because it's January. Nothing's really coming out because of the strikes. So
we did watch Argyle, which so we didn't really announce this at the. I'm gonna announce this now because we announced it at the end of last episode. But since zero,
our average watch time is
of you actually get there,
seconds.
It's just Kilo at that point. Since only Kilo saw that part. We now have the reviews on our other channel, Half Empty. So it'll probably be linked, I'm assuming, somewhere either in the description or in the title card somewhere. So check out that.
I'll put the title card up there.
Well, that's too far.
Is it there?
Yeah, maybe down a little more.
Somewhere in this
about
general
that spot.
area.
But yeah, so the reviews are actually on a separate channel now. That way we don't cannibal. The runtime was getting the 3-hour podcast runtime was looking a little too much.
Literally every single person I ever talked to about this, they just complain about how long it is.
Dude, our podcast episodes were as long as the amount of sleep that I would get on an average night going to high school. That's insane. Both of those.
Why are we still yapping? This is part of the reason this was a problem.
Let's give you guys a brief rundown of the show. We got Oscar news. Did the Oscars happen yet?
No, they don't have it for another month and a half.
Okay, we got Oscar news. We got Jurassic news. We got Top Gun news. We got Doug news. And we got trailers.
The cartoon show Doug.
The cartoon show Doug.
And Doug Walker.
The
nostalgia
critic guy.
What a guy. You know how every YouTuber's retiring?
How on earth is Doug Walker still making content? No, for real.
No one's watching.
No, for real. He's been making content since before YouTube.
Yeah.
He had his own website.
Yep.
That he would post videos on. And he's still... he doesn't even own the rights to the Nostalgia Critic.
Yeah, I'm aware. There's a weird, creepy CEO who
there's a shadow organization,
shadow corporation
CEO who owns every Channel Awesome asset.
Yeah.
Which is why he started Untitled Review Show, which is now he just does the same thing, just as himself instead of as Nostalgia Critic. Anyway, what were we talking about? Let's talk about trailers.
Should we retire?
Game. Guys, we are retired.
It's been years of making content.
Yeah, but not 10 years.
No.
We'll retire
at 10 years. Watch.
Or whenever one of us has a kid.
Or if one of us dies.
Oh, well, yeah.
Actually, I don't know. I think if Patrick dies, we'll manage.
Well, I mean... maybe. He'd probably be sad about that. No. Anyways.
We take at least 2 weeks off.
Okay. Yeah.
Don't die, Patrick. I need you to make songs for the intros.
All right. Let me get the trailers pulled up for the Indiana Jones.
There was a couple trailers. One of them was for a video game because we occasionally talk about video games on this show.
All right, Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones and the Big Circle.
The Big Circle.
That was terrible.
We should have called it the Big Square. Indiana Jones, Indiana Bones, and the Big Square.
And the Big Xbox.
That's gonna be our next parody character. Indiana Bones.
Indiana Bones.
And the Big Square.
He's just a skeleton.
And the Scary Square.
The Scary Square.
You already want to see that movie.
So it looks like. Here's the thing about making an Indiana Jones game. It's that Naughty Dog has already made 4 very good Indiana Jones games.
They're called
Uncharted. So when Xbox comes in and says, "Hey, we got to make Indiana Jones game," it really just looks like they're trying their best to just not make an Uncharted game.
Okay, Todd Howard is the producer. Dude, what does Todd Howard know about making video games?
He owns Bethesda.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, I'm thinking of
Steven Spielberg.
No, I'm thinking of the narrator. He's the narrator for literally everything. He's Arrested Development. He's the narrator. In
Ron Howard.
I'm thinking of Ron Howard. I don't know why I'm thinking of
Ron Howard.
I don't know. That's a Ron Howard.
You got a Ron Howard on the brain. It's a rare condition. But no, this looks. I mean, it looks pretty fine. The main thing with me is the first person thing. I don't like that. I know you're trying to make me feel like I'm Indiana Jones.
I think the fact that it's first person actually gives it enough of a differentiating factor to be its own thing from Uncharted. If it was third person, I'd be like, okay, that's just literally.
But honestly, I'd be fine if it was just Uncharted. That's fine with me. I don't care. It's just like the thing that makes Indiana Jones is like the character Indiana Jones. So as long as he's there, and you're already different because it's a different time period, and you got like the whip element, like there's stuff there to differentiate it.
Well,
that
Todd Howard makes
camera.
Bethesda games, and he was like, make it Bethesda game with Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I'm sure it's running on that same crappy engine. It's probably running on the Doom.
It looks like it's running on that engine.
It's probably running on the Doom engine. That's probably why.
The Doom engine looks better than this.
Because they're both shooters, or this is somewhat of a shooter.
This is the same, but it looks like the Bethesda.
Because it's a linear game, so I'm guessing it's not running on like the Skyrim engine.
Well, no, an engine is just like basically like an asset development.
I know. I'm guessing it's not. They're not using their open world stuff for this because this is not an open world game.
Well, you can use.
I'm guessing they're using like the bare bones of the
Unity as an engine
stuff. Yeah,
you can make an open world game in Unity. Like you could. It's probably using that same engine or maybe a similar engine.
The one they've been using since 2010.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's an Xbox exclusive.
So now I can finally justify my
purchase of an Xbox
that I made impulsively during COVID because I was like, well, they're rare, so I guess I'll buy one.
We've gotten a little bit of usage out of that Xbox.
Okay.
We played Halo on it for a couple hours.
100%, I got my uses out of it because I was using it to stream, and then also. Anytime I play like video games with my friends, like Fortnite, Halo, any of that, I'm always playing it.
It's the system I've gotten my use out of it. Because your friends have Xbox.
Actually, my friends have Xbox because I have Xbox.
Dang, you're that friend now.
I just happened to buy an Xbox because it was the cheapest at the time.
As a person who owns a PlayStation 5 and a PC that can't run poopies, I'm very upset this will be an Xbox exclusive.
Yeah, well, no, you might be able to play it on your computer.
That's what I said. My computer can't run.
Turn the settings negative. If you invert the settings.
If I plug my computer in, turn everything up to max, close everything except for the game, and like turn the settings down to like medium, I can run Minecraft at like 720p, 30 frames per second.
Well, that's the same as the Switch.
The Switch is a tablet from 2011.
Technically playable. A little bit playable.
But yeah, I mean, it looks fine. It looks exactly like kind of what I expected an Indiana Jones game to be. So I don't know. Maybe they'll break out something crazy with it.
Indiana Jones canon is so weird. Like, what is canon in Indiana Jones?
The movies.
What about the show?
The show is kind of canon.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
but there's flash forward stuff in that, which was then retconned by the later movies. So.
Well, can they not both have been true?
No, because like in the show they flash forward to him when he's like 80 and he's like he's missing an eye. He's like a hermit in a cabin somewhere.
Well, he could have.
And then you get around to Dial of Destiny and he's just in New York or whatever.
Maybe he quits being a professor and slips.
Maybe he left his.
On a puddle.
Maybe he left his wife again, and then moved into the woods to cry or something.
Yeah. Well, okay. What if his wife passes away?
Yep.
And he is in such grief that he literally cries one of his eyes out, and moves to a cabin in the woods.
This game should have come out like 10 years ago, to like actually like revive.
This game should have come out 20 years ago. On the Xbox 360.
I'm trying to be realistic where it's like, this should have been a thing that like tied over the Indiana Jones fandom until the movie. Because now...
No, but it wouldn't have done that.
There's no excitement.
Video games don't float fan bases, really. Unless it is a video game.
But it's a thing, right? It's like a thing that's out there. It would have
given people something.
Some people would have been talking about Indiana Jones for some reason.
You know what? Why was there never a Telltale Indiana Jones game?
I don't know.
That seems like it would have been perfect for that. And it's like Telltale games for some reason did generate like mass discussion. Even though they weren't that popular.
No one played. They went bankrupt because no one played them.
Like that's because everyone would stream them or YouTube them, and that's like
because there was barely a video game portion of it.
Well, it's a choose your own adventure book, which is like it's cool to do that in a video game. Like they were fun. They were interesting.
It's a neat idea that should not have been produced at the budget level it was being produced at.
True. Like, and the only ones that really popped off were the Walking Dead ones.
And then like Minecraft.
And the third one was like Minecraft. Apparently not very good. So like they kind of shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
But my point is, Indiana Jones, I feel like could have been one of those.
But a better fit than like a lot of. Because they did like a Game of Thrones one and like a Guardians of the Galaxy.
Game of Thrones one never came out.
It didn't.
No, and that's actually not made by them. That game is still in development.
Okay.
But there is they made a Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, like Batman, that stuff like doesn't really fit. Like Batman, if you're doing a Batman game, you want to be Batman and like punch guys.
You're gonna play the Arkham games.
Yeah.
If you want to play a Batman game, you're gonna play the Arkham game.
But like Indiana Jones, like. Yeah, there's like the fighting stuff, but he also does like a puzzle occasionally.
So when they eventually make another Arkham game, because they will eventually.
Well, they can't now because they killed Arkham Batman.
Do you think they're going to bring him back to life, or do you think it's going to take place in the past?
They would just do a prequel. They just do another prequel.
You don't think that they would Lazarus pit him?
No.
Why not?
Because that whole continuity. That's like a whole other discussion. The whole Kill the Justice League thing, but like. At the end of Arkham Knight, which is like where that series actually ends, like he fakes his death and like blows up all the Batman stuff and becomes like a different type of Batman.
What if they just ignore the Suicide Squad game completely?
Because then there's still Arkham Knight though. You still have to deal with that.
No. They keep going with that. Like, what if you just do that?
Well, because the whole idea after Arkham Knight was that like he wasn't gonna like run around in like the car and like beat people up anymore. He was like using fear toxin to become like. An actual like urban legend, like the thing he was always intending to be, like he actually becomes, where like people actually aren't sure if he's real because he's basically just a hallucination.
Yeah,
like there's no game in that.
You can always do like.
But like he blows up the house and like Bruce Wayne is dead.
Okay, here's what you do. You know,
and he like stops talking to like the Bat family.
You know how they killed the Joker?
Yeah.
Lazarus pit. Joker comes back. Batman goes, "Oh my god!"
Why don't they just Lazarus pit the whole Justice League?
Batman goes, "Oh my god, I thought I was done, but I've got to put on the cowl one more time to stop it." And then that's like obvious.
Well, they can't do it now because also Kevin Conroy died.
You could have a different guy.
Yeah, but no, everyone would be really upset about that.
Okay, but eventually, one day they're gonna make another Batman something, and
no, but like that, like Arkham Batman is voiced by Kevin Conroy. Like in all those games, he's Kevin Conroy. I feel like, except for Origins, but that was a whole other thing.
Does the Arkham Knight game take place in the Arkham universe?
Yeah,
not Arkham Knights, the Gotham Knights.
No,
even though it's like the same.
Even though Gotham Knights feels like a logical follow-up to those games, and a Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League feels like a completely unrelated thing, yes, the Gotham Knights one is not a follow-up.
Because Batman's not in the Gotham Knights game.
Because he's dead.
He's dead in that game?
Yep. A Talon from the Court of Owls sneaks into his home and knives him.
Okay, so
he gets stabbed once and dies.
We're erasing. That's not true. Batman retired in Arkham Knight, and then Gotham Knights happened.
Yes,
that's the
logical follow-up.
Yes. So that happens.
Yeah.
And you make that.
And then the Suicide Squad game where a bunch of A-list characters are like disposed of, and it's like a wacky multiverse thing. You make that its own universe.
Yeah, it's its own thing.
Especially since that like retcons several elements of the Arkham universe in that game.
They'll probably just be like, that was another universe.
They should. Why didn't they just do that from the beginning?
It will.
Okay, whatever.
That's one of those projects that's like so dumb you know they're gonna like, that was another universe.
Well, they're gonna do that if it doesn't sell well. Yeah. No one would play a Battle Pass Suicide Squad game.
Yeah, because maybe live service games...
It's almost as if we learned this exact lesson involving a superhero game like 3 years ago.
Yeah, remember when they did the live service Avengers
game? The game with Iron Man and Spider-Man and the Hulk in it.
The biggest...
That one didn't work. And so the one with Deadshot and Captain Boomerang will?
Oh, well, King Shark just is the most popular guy.
I think comic books. Spider-Man... King Shark, he's on top.
Apparently, he does have like a good character arc in the game. Like
I'm not judging that. I'm asking why did they do this game this way?
Yeah, I don't know.
When it was very obvious this was not a thing anyone wanted.
Why did they even make a Suicide Squad?
That's not even a terrible idea. Just like why did they do it like this?
Yeah. Okay.
They made a Guardians of the Galaxy game and it was good.
Hang on, another idea. All right. The Suicide Squad teams up.
Yep.
And they're doing some bad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Batman goes, oh my god. These guys are doing some...
Yeah.
I gotta put on the cowl one more time. Right? But this time you're playing as the Suicide Squad. This is the first game.
Mm-hmm.
Then you make like 2 or 3 Suicide Squad games. And you the roster changes up. Sometimes this guy's here, sometimes that guy's there. And then like maybe the 3rd or 4th game you have him kill a Justice. But to make that the first game, if they ever want to make another one, what are they going to do?
Do they kill a different Justice League?
Do they kill Superman, but he's even bigger and more stronger? How do you get a bigger and more stronger guy than Superman?
Yeah, that's true.
You don't. You can't.
Why didn't they just make a Superman video game?
Don't know.
Why has no one tried to make a video game out of the second most popular DC character?
Well, I think we know.
Okay, that one is bad. There's also a bunch of terrible Batman games. And then we made Arkham Asylum, and it was really good.
Yeah, but a Superman game... Okay, Batman can be punched and he will take damage in a video game style way. If you punch Superman, why would he ever... Why would his health bar ever
Here's your solution. Inner Gang has released a bunch of, like, Superman hurting tech on the streets, and all the crooks have Superman.
Every criminal has anti-Superman.
Sure. In the Spider-Man games, every criminal is infected with the Venom symbiote in the second one.
Well, I didn't play that, and that sounds dumb.
But like that stuff is fine in a video game because you need goons to fight.
Yeah.
Like that's boom. I just solved your thing. They can have kryptonite guns. That doesn't. Sure.
Even Spider-Man can take damage.
Yeah.
Superman, in most contexts, cannot take damage.
Yes, he can. He gets hurt by guys who hit really hard.
Yeah, like one time.
It would not be difficult.
One time by a guy who was like playing...
Lex Luthor has a bunch of goons with kryptonite guns.
Yeah, because he's a billionaire.
I'm just saying, like, this, in a video game, like, this is how you would make this work.
I guess I'm thinking of it as, like, it would be like a Spider-Man type game where he's, like, beating up street thugs.
Yeah.
But yeah, Superman, I guess, wouldn't really be doing that.
You show up, but like even if that's in the game, you show up and they're like inner gang guys and they have weird, crazy tech. Yeah, like in the cartoon show. You know the My Adventures with Superman cartoon show, like all the villains have crazy stuff.
But yeah, you could. I guess you could do it so like Superman hasn't unlocked his full potential yet, so maybe he's not like it, because that's how it was in the cartoon. Like Superman was still unlocking his power.
Or like he just has them and like the skill tree makes them better or whatever. Just whatever.
Yeah, either way, same thing. Anyway,
there's ways to do it. It doesn't require that much thought. They just haven't put the effort into it.
Anyway, we got to get to the second trailer.
Yeah, we're. I might have to cut like a lot of that out.
Bad Batch season 2.
Bad Batch season 3, Sam.
What?
It's the final season.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
You just forgot about the first one because nothing happened in it.
It's the second season. I'm pretty sure.
Echo is dead. Not Echo. Tech is dead. There's a crapo in this trailer.
All right.
They're doing clone stuff. Looks fine.
They're going on the cliff with the truck.
All of your favorite characters whose names you don't know are back.
Wrecker, Echo, Hunter.
What was
Tech is dead.
What's the girl's name? Omega.
Omega. I don't remember how she.
Sniper one. What's his name?
Crosshair. Crosshair's cool.
I don't even dislike this show.
The second season is one of the best, has some of the best episodes in all of Star Wars stuff. But as a season, like, there was no goal. They had no goal. So I forgot.
That's been this whole show. There's never, like, any clear direction where our protagonists are moving in towards.
It has the philosophical insight of Andor with all of the meandering plot.
Hold on.
Hang on. It has like the philosophical backbone of like Andor, where they do like a lot of introspection on like tyranny and all that stuff.
Sure.
But with like the meandering plot of Rebels season 1.
Yeah.
Where they have absolutely nothing to do.
Star Wars is always stuck in this perpetual issue where they do all of these spin-offs, but nothing that happens in them are ever allowed to have any sort of major impact on like the overall story, because the actual story was told in a movie that came out in 1983.
Yeah.
So like all of these characters have to fill all these episodes worth of time, and none of their actions are allowed to have any impact on anything important.
Now, you can solve this problem by giving them their own villains and their own goals and their own struggles.
Or,
but they didn't do that.
God forbid you set a show in a time period that isn't this one specific time period.
Yeah, they could branch out.
They could maybe not do a thing set between episodes 3 and 4. That would probably help.
But like when I talk about like it has like some philosophical, like there's this, it reminds me of basically any of the scenes with Crosshair. Like when
there's that whole episode where he like has to go to that planet.
When he's talking with I think it was Wolf.
Yeah.
On Coruscant, and they're like, what did we really do?
Yeah.
What really was the goal of the Clone War? And you see Commander Wolf starting to realize, like, oh, like we
got played, son.
Irreversibly destroyed this galaxy.
Yeah.
Like we did something horrible, and I haven't even really fully come to terms with it yet. And then there's the later episode again where Crosshair is.
Is that Mike picking you up?
Yeah.
Okay, you're like talking in the opposite direction.
Yeah, as long as it's in the yellow. But then there's that later episode again where he's on that like snow planet and he's on deployment, and they're like, all right, you got to prove that you're still worth keeping around.
Yeah.
Right? And eventually he sacrifices a lot of time and a lot of effort to like save this soldier that he becomes friends with, and then he brings him back and they like refuse to give him medical attention, and they shoot him.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, like the people I thought I was fighting for, the people I betrayed my friends for, are not who I thought they were, and maybe I need to reevaluate how I think of this organization. Like there's a lot of scenes like that where I'm like, oh, this is actually really interesting and really cool.
But then most of the show
there's an
is like,
episode where like Omega has to like put a lizard in a box,
or like we have to steal this crate of things for money.
Why in Star Wars animated shows
is the default storyline? We have to steal a crate of things.
Why are they always stealing? Like
I don't know.
Almost every 8 out of 10 episodes in the first 2 seasons of Rebels
are stealing
the
crates.
Rebels stealing crates from guys or delivering crates to guys
that they stole. I don't know. It's just Star Wars is so weird.
Like if you were to watch,
on one hand, Star Wars should have like this boundless just platform to do like whatever weird story.
And sometimes it does.
And then on the other hand, they're just so stuck in their ways where they just can't stop doing the same boring thing over and over and over again.
Star Wars, I think, and I think I've said this before, Star Wars, I think, more than almost any like Western media IP, has the most potential for like infinite stories. Because the galaxy is so big and so vast, and there's so many different factions, and there's so many different characters, and there's so many different ways that these things interact with each other, that you can tell infinite stories. You can always make a new planet with a new guy, with a new interesting take on some conflict. You can always do that. But they're so chained down by nostalgia that they are afraid, terrified to do that.
It has to have a stormtrooper or a Jedi or a lightsaber.
And the worst part is when they do those things and they go out of their comfort zone.
It's always probably good.
They tell a really interesting story from a really interesting perspective. No one cares.
Because it doesn't have a lightsaber.
Because it doesn't have Darth Vader in it.
Yeah.
There's better things than Darth Vader.
I think most Star Wars fans are like people who love the idea of loving Star Wars more than they actually like Star Wars.
I agree with that.
Where they're just like, they like the idea of being a guy who thinks Darth Vader is cool, but like they don't like, if they did anything interesting with the Darth Vader character, like they wouldn't care.
They'd be upset about it.
Like they wouldn't care. I mean, that's a large part what the prequels were. Was it was a bunch of people, not that those are good movies, any of them really at all, but like they were more upset that they tried to do anything with those characters than they were actually upset with like what they did do with them. Like the idea of changing stuff in Star Wars is more threatening than the actual changes they make.
And I will always stand by the story of the prequels is actually a good story written on paper. Like the betrayal, the intrigue, the politics of it is all very interesting. But oh my gosh, the way that they tell it and the way that they show us how it happened ruins it all. Like, okay, Anakin Skywalker is supposed to be like a nuanced character, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's like manipulated. He was dragged down this dark path. He murders a room full of children. Where is the ethical nuance in that? From what point of view are the Jedi so evil you have to murder them as children? You know the question where people are like, oh, well, would you murder insert evil dictator?
Yeah, if you murder Hitler as a baby,
time machine? Yeah. Most people go, well, no, because they're like still
a baby.
Anakin was like, nuh-uh.
I got this hand.
No, I am going to kill all of them, actually.
Yeah, again, I just think it's like, if you ask like your average Star Wars fan, right, what they like about Star Wars, they would say like aesthetic stuff. They would be like, I like Obi-Wan Kenobi. I like the Millennium Falcon. Like, it would be like stuff like that.
Yeah.
They like things that are from Star Wars. If you ask them like, what's like a theme of Star Wars that you connect with, they would be like, I don't know,
war
good and bad. Like it would be that. Like they don't. I think there's a lot. Star Wars became such this like large scale, like foundational element of pop culture, where just like any sort of like thematic resonance or like in like ideological discussion that could result from it was just drowned out by the sheer volume of people chanting AT-AT.
Well, okay. Star Wars, to a large extent, invented pop culture. It invented the make a billion toys from this property. It invented
the modern, like, materialistic view of what pop culture is.
It changed stories from a means to convey a message in an interesting way
to a way to convey you gotta buy these toys.
Exactly. And
gotta get them toys.
Like I think the impact of Star Wars on the way that stories are told to this day is something that could be studied much further. But that's a topic.
It's very ironic that George Lucas made a story about like the negative effects of imperialism, and then he created like this capitalistic imperialist behemoth of a property. It's kind of interesting.
And then sold it to like the most.
Someone should write like
story company.
Someone should write like a really like detailed analysis and book about that, and then just watch a bunch of dudes with Darth Vader T-shirts like whine about how it's too woke.
Oh no, your book is
now it's ruining their childhood.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk. Tell me about Doug.
Okay,
what's Doug doing?
So Doug Liman is a director.
I thought it was Lehman.
It's Lyman. So he made the news recently because they remade Roadhouse.
What is Roadhouse?
It's a classic Patrick Swayze 80s movie. It's actually quite good.
What is it about?
It's about like the head, what do you call it? At a bar, like the security bouncer. He's like the head bouncer at a bar, and he gets hired to go like fix up like a crappy rundown place, and he runs into this town that's like being ruled by like this money grubbing like rich guy who owns all the buildings and like is taking control. And he's got like all these goons, and then Patrick Swayze does a big punch, and they all like the townsfolk like rebel against like the corporate overlord. It's that. It's pretty fun.
All right.
But Doug Liman remade it with Jake Gyllenhaal. It's going to Prime Video, and the whole controversy was that he agreed to make the movie with MGM. And MGM told him it was going to have a theatrical release.
How do we not have the other Jake Gyllenhaal story on here?
Oh, I was going to bring it up.
That's a way funnier story.
We'll probably talk about it. But he agreed with MGM that it would get a theatrical release, and then he started making the movie. And then he made it, and MGM was bought by Amazon. And Amazon was like, well, if you
altering the deal.
If you make a good movie, it'll still get a theatrical release. And then so he kept working on it. He finished it. It reportedly tested pretty well. And then they saw it and they went, no, this is going straight to Prime Video. So he wrote an editorial piece in Deadline about this, and it's actually quite interesting. I do think it's worth reading. It's not very long, but he talks about how there's going to be a premiere at South by Southwest, and he's not going to attend because he feels like he was wronged by Amazon, which makes sense. I mean, they
just because you buy a company doesn't mean you can just ignore the deals they made.
Well,
like, when you buy a company, you are taking on, the risks and the benefits of taking on that company.
My guess is that because,
in my opinion, you should have to stick to the deal.
My guess is that he probably didn't. It probably wasn't like specifically outlined. This is getting a theatrical release. My guess is probably the head of MGM or whatever was like, "Hey,
it was like a
handshake verbal agreement, and then that was thrown out the window when Bezos stepped in or whatever."
Yeah.
Is he still on Amazon?
He's not the CEO, but he has a minority stake in the board.
But like whoever runs Amazon came in and told him no. But it's just weird to me that like this movie would not get a theatrical release with like some of the stuff Amazon's putting out is like The Beekeeper.
Yeah, they put that in theaters.
But the Roadhouse remake with
I don't know if we've even talked about The Beekeeper. Actually.
What are we gonna say about the
It's Beekeeper? John Wick, but like way stupider.
But we see like every movie.
Yeah, but we haven't made a podcast in so long.
By the way, another tangent. I was looking at like the release schedule for like what's coming up in the next few weeks.
We're so cooked, guys.
Dude, we might not get a good movie until March.
Like Deadpool 3 is like the only bastion.
Like
maybe it'll be a good movie.
Here, well, I made a list. I actually made a list of what's coming out for fun. But before we get to that, I'll just finish the MGM thing. But like, yeah, I think that's really unfortunate. And this is a guy who has like a really proven track record of like making solid stuff.
Yeah.
He did The Bourne Identity. He did Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Like he's done solid stuff before. Jake Gyllenhaal's a name. The Property is a name. They have famous people in it. It's got Conor McGregor in it, I think, in like his first acting role. Like there's people in this. Like this could probably be a moderate hit. It's just weird that Amazon would like purposely anger this guy who's probably never going to work with them again now.
Yeah, it's super weird.
Since you dumped this movie on streaming.
Before you talk about that, since we're still on Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Jake Gyllenhaal thing.
Yeah, I didn't read about this entirely.
Dude, this is so weird.
But do you know more about it than I do?
Let me pull it up.
But there was a report
that... Because I remember I replied to the discussing film tweet of it, and I was like, I am once again asking discussing film to be distinguishable from disbussing film. Yeah, so here, I'll pull up this is from the discussing film tweet. But so there was an indie movie called Suddenly that was in development. And it fell apart and has been canceled, as far as I'm aware, due to Jake Gyllenhaal's erratic behavior, which includes but is not limited to stripping down to his underwear and diving into the freezing ocean, saying, "When I see the sea, I swim in the sea." Demanding constant script rewrites, doing his rehearsal in a Pepe Le Pew accent, and saying set builders should sleep in their cars to prevent the spread of COVID. So just all around stand-up normal man behavior from our boy Jake. It's just too
specific to be fake.
Yeah, I know.
Like the Pepe Le Pew accent, what are you... Jake Gyllenhaal, man, what are you doing? I just as normal guys, right? As every day.
One of the rewrites he demanded was for a scene on a boat, Gyllenhaal tried to convince them to let him slap a fish. It's just the most random stuff.
As two normal random dudes, right? As two guys who have no ego, right?
Yeah.
Normal everyday Joes, us over here at the McDonCast. I just can't comprehend the events that have to transpire in your life to put you in the headspace where that type of behavior is okay, and where no one will criticize you for it.
The movie only had a $26 million budget.
It sounds like he's probably... The reason he's acting like this is he's probably the only name actor in the movie. Probably a big reason why it got money to be made. And he now thinks he can just do whatever he wants.
No, do you know what I think this is?
I think it's publicity stunt?
No. I think actually most big name Hollywood actors are this crazy.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
He's just the only one in this movie. And the movie has a $26 million.
So it's probably a bunch of crew members who aren't used to this.
It's mostly made by normal dudes,
and they're
just
what is this man doing?
What are you doing?
Yeah, that's hilarious.
But that is just a funny story. Nothing too insane.
Yeah, at least
he didn't do anything.
Honestly, it's nice to see a celebrity. Not that this is healthy behavior. It's nice to see a celebrity story about a project that got canceled, not because someone got murdered.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Or because the actor was molesting people.
Yeah, he wasn't molesting anyone. He wasn't murdering anyone.
He was just being a weirdo.
Being weird.
Just being a goofy guy.
And Jake Gyllenhaal seems like the kind of guy who would definitely do all of this.
That's 100%. I would believe that a million times.
Anyway, what's your other thing you were...
Sam, you want me to read some upcoming releases we got coming our way?
Oh yeah, hit us with the list.
We have Lisa Frankenstein. My most anticipated movie of the year, Madam Web.
That's going to be a
Looks
banger.
Great. I can't wait for Madam Web.
Yeah, we got to see that.
I'm seeing that 3 times. What did you say the
other one was?
Lisa Frankenstein?
Yeah, I forgot about that. We're not seeing that movie. But I'll see Madam Web.
Bob Marley biopic? Doesn't look too bad.
Yeah, but I don't care. I have not seen any of those biopics.
Okay.
I have not seen any big 80s musician biopics. And I do not care to start with the Bob Marley.
You're just not going to buy in.
It's not invested
Too
in
late
that
for you.
As a demographic.
I would say the best one is probably the Weird Al parody biopic.
That one I kind of want to see.
You should watch that one. That one's really funny.
Because that one seems funny, and I want to watch it.
Drive Away Dolls.
I don't know.
That's one of the Coen brothers movies.
Sure.
Dune Part 2, which will probably be good.
That'll be good. There's no way that movie can't be bad.
If that movie's bad, we're all
don't
screwed.
Be bad.
The movie theaters might just end.
That movie's not allowed to be bad.
Kung Fu Panda 4.
That movie could be good.
Not looking great though.
It's not giving me a lot of confidence. No. But it could be good.
Arthur the King.
I don't care. I'm not seeing that. I'm so.
Mark Wahlberg makes friends with a dog.
I don't care at all.
Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
will see that movie, and it will probably be a 5 out of 10.
You'll probably think it's fine, and I'll probably be irrationally upset about it.
It will be the most 5 out of 10 movie we've ever seen.
King Kong versus Godzilla: The New Empire.
That movie will be a question mark out of 10 because those movies are unrateable. They're just nonsense.
They're just sheer nonsense. Monkey Man. You saw the trailer for this, right?
That movie actually
looks all right. It looks kind
of cool, actually.
Might be good.
It looks like if John Wick was a skinny
monkey
guy.
dude.
I'm cool with that.
I'm cool with that.
That seems cool.
Alex Garland's Civil War. What if Donald Trump caused the Civil War?
That seems like an Apple TV movie.
Yeah, where it's not real.
Kind of movie that I would.
I think it's because it's like it's like an asylum movie that got a really big budget.
Yeah.
Rebel Moon 2.
Don't care about that movie.
You ever watch Rebel Moon 1?
I have not.
Challengers, the Zendaya tennis movie.
I'll see that one because Zendaya is hot.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all my thoughts on that.
The Fall Guy with Ryan Gosling.
Forgot that movie was being made.
It looks okay,
fun. But you know what? Mama will like that movie.
Yeah, that's a mom movie right there. Planet of the Apes, New Apes. Big year for monkey movies.
I will probably see that one, but I have not seen any of the other ones, nor will I see them before I watch this one.
What if I made you watch them?
Don't have time to watch them. Like, I actually don't.
You got 3 months. 3 months, 3 movies. You only gotta watch one movie a month.
But my schedule is not going to change.
You gotta watch 1 movie a month. You can fit it in.
Yeah, but I also gotta watch Breaking Bad. I gotta keep up with all the animes I'm watching. I gotta finish Baldur's Gate, which I still haven't done. I gotta finish Zelda, which I still haven't done. I gotta play Persona 5, which I bought.
If Sam hasn't had time to play Zelda for 200 hours, then you know something's weird.
I gotta play Fortnite with Brendan for like 10 hours.
Okay, that one you could cut down the time on.
And normally my Fortnite time is when I would binge shows because I can have it on there and I can play Fortnite while I'm watching it.
Yeah.
But I can't do that if I'm playing with someone else, which like all my Fortnite time has either been the Discord community nights or I'm playing with a friend. So I can't do that. So like I just actually haven't had time to like do anything.
If the John Krasinski
is that another Apple TV movie?
No, but it looks like it should be.
It seems like an Apple movie because it doesn't seem like a real
I think
movie.
that's like a Sony thing.
You know what? This is the Apple TV movie formula. Banger cast, most forgettable plot of all time.
Yeah.
That is the formula for an Apple TV original movie.
Yeah.
But no, I don't care about that. I don't really want to watch it.
Furiosa.
I haven't seen the other Mad Max. But I don't care about this.
But it looks pretty good.
But I don't care because I haven't seen the other ones.
Right,
is Furiosa a character?
It's a prequel. I mean, you could probably see without having seen those.
Aren't all of the movies except for the most recent
one
a prequel?
They're pretty much all disconnected from each other.
Then why are they in the same universe?
Because it's all the same like universe. And Mad Max is a character in.
Is he in all of them?
Yeah, but
is he a different guy in all of them?
No. Maybe. It's weird.
What do you mean?
Like he acts different in some of them compared to like the other ones. So like his character is very different.
Probably because it's just inconsistent.
Garfield.
Don't want to watch Garfield.
But you have to watch. Sam, by the way, out of all of these, that's the one you probably have to watch more than any of them.
I don't want
because Chris Pratt.
I don't care.
You gotta watch it though.
I don't wanna.
You have to.
Who is doing it? Illumination?
No, it's like a different.
It looks like Illumination.
I think it's Sony.
I don't care.
It's Sony.
Don't.
But that's a
next
match made in heaven. Ballerina, John Wick spinoff.
Okay, maybe.
Inside Out 2.
I'm a John Wick fan. I'll see John Wick movie.
You see Inside Out 2.
Yeah.
What about Bad Boys 4?
I've seen Bad Boys 1 through 3. I'm not caring about Bad Boys 4.
What about A Quiet Place prequel movie?
I barely care about A Quiet Place.
But
like the first one was pretty good. The second one was really stupid. I barely care about A Quiet Place. But I care this much.
I don't. Everyone hates the second Quiet Place. I don't.
Yeah, because it doesn't make any sense.
There's some dumb
logically,
stuff in it,
it doesn't make any sense at all. Why would you have a song that vaguely alludes to your location playing on loop instead of just a recording of the guy saying where it is?
Because you don't want everyone to go there.
But they do want everyone to go there.
But some people are mean.
The mean people are already there. So, like, remember the cannibals who lived?
No, they were living on the dock. They were living. I guess the only way they would be living on the dock would be to know
the people over there.
It's true. I guess the only reason they would be living on the dock is if they knew there were people over there and they were eating the people on their way.
Exactly. You could be like, "Hey, this is our location, and watch out, there's cannibals."
I don't understand how everyone on Earth died by those big monster things if they can't.
That also can't swim. Yeah. What? How can they survive in space?
Did they land on literally every continent?
They arrive on an asteroid.
Yep.
So they can survive.
There must have been
in the cold, impossible to survive in vacuum of space. But water. Oh my God, no, they can't.
Maybe they were just sink. Maybe they are alive and they just sinks and then they don't know how to get up.
Also, they're like weak to loud noises. You know what makes loud noises? Every single gun ever.
Well, also like entering the atmosphere would be really.
Is a loud noise. Crashing
would be a loud noise.
At terminal velocity would create a loud noise.
I feel like the sounds of like cars honking and screaming.
And again, in the first movie, they didn't have the weakness to loud noises. They didn't have a weakness to water.
Yeah, they did. Because he uses it. At the end to kill him at the first movie.
Yeah, but that was an unknown thing to like everyone.
Also, like how
and in the first movie, one of them goes. The house is flooding, and one of them goes underwater, and there's a creepy scene where like, is it gonna pop out? So they can swim.
No,
they just couldn't swim in the second one. Anyway, I don't care enough about that. I don't want to talk about. We got so much to talk about. What's the next thing?
Oh, I can just stop there. That's through June.
Yeah, we're good. What's next? Docket. I have the El Muerto tweet pulled
up. Thunderbolts and Supergirl. Some casting. Steven Yeun and Ayo Edebiri had to drop out due to quote-unquote scheduling conflicts.
We didn't like the movie, look bad, and we don't want to ruin our careers because we're both like up-and-coming actors.
Steven Yeun is being replaced by Lewis Pullman, who most people probably know. He's in Top Gun Maverick. He's not one of like the name characters. He's just kind of in the background.
He's a background guy.
And then Ayo Edebiri is being replaced with Geraldine Viswanthan. She's in a few things.
Thing I would know.
I don't think she's in anything you have seen. She was in an Apple movie that came out recently that no one watched, and then
I just want to. What is her?
She was in the Geraldine Viswan.
How do you spell her first name? Or her last name? One of the names.
Viswanathan.
Viswanthan.
She's in the upcoming Drive Away Dolls. So forward to that. He was in Bad Education. I've seen that. That one was pretty good. Blockers, I've seen that too.
Oh, is she Indian?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you?
Oh yeah, no. Okay, I remember because I thought of a. I guess. Oh yeah.
What were you thinking of?
No, so when I saw that they announced that Steven Yeun was fired and they hired her, I was like, they just like swapped out one type of Asian for a different type of Asian. They wanted to keep that.
No. They swapped out the Asian guy with a white dude, and they swapped out the black one with an Indian
for a different type of Asian.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just thought it was
very
funny.
Cool. No. I kind of believe Ayo Edebiri's being.
Yeah, because she actually is in a bunch of stuff.
Is because also the Bear is shooting soon. So if this was shooting, like when the Bear was going to shoot,
too. I'll be like halfway through season 2.
She would probably pick the Bear because that's winning her Emmys, and this is going to be terrible.
Yeah.
So like that tracks. But Steven Yeun is not really doing a whole lot.
He's like just an Invincible.
So
that's basically it.
I'm pretty sure his was just like
unless he has like some other thing that we're just
like. I feel like Marvel is not like the automatic like instant payday career maker it used to be, and so a lot of these up and coming actors.
I don't know. It kind of is. It's guaranteed to at least get your name out there.
Yeah, but like Tiana Paris and like Aman Vellani, like these people who are in the Marvels.
But they will be in other stuff now.
But they will, but like all it really got them was like a movie that performed poorly and like a bunch of people.
But when you're in Hollywood, when you're in that type of competitive space, if you can just get your name in something people recognize or something people have at least heard of, that's a big step. Even if that thing is bad,
I think what we're looking at is like these is probably 2 minor supporting roles in this. And these are 2 actors that just both won Emmys.
How do you make a movie with Sentry in it where he's a minor supporting?
Well, my guess is he would be like the villain, but he's not like doing a big plan villain. Like he's I'm gonna show up and punch some things villain.
Yeah, I mean he's not even really a villain.
But he's gonna be a villain in this because they have to have somebody to fight.
Okay, Sentry is a self-balancing character because the stronger he gets, the stronger his like evil side gets, and it like keeps him. Like, that's the trade-off. That's the interesting, like, part of that character. So, like, you don't need to stop him. He'll eventually stop himself. Like, he's like an ice cube. Like, if you're choking on an ice cube, you just wait a minute. It'll solve itself.
And other superhero casting, we talked about this last time, but it's now official. Millie Alcock from House of the Dragon is going to be Supergirl in the DCU.
Yeah, and actually, last episode, I had her confused for the woman who played the adult version of that character in the House of the Dragon show. The one who plays the kid, I actually liked way more. She was, like, way more energetic and, like, way more of an interesting character. When she, like, grows up, she, like, becomes, like, a blank slate. Like, she's just, well, not a blank slate. She's just much less emotive and, like, reactive to things. Like, her, I actually don't mind. I think she could be a fine super. The older one, I was like, I don't know, maybe not.
Yeah, I'm okay with this decision. I think it's fine. I think it's odd that they're casting the Supergirl movie, and the Supergirl movie doesn't have a director yet. But I guess if she's going to be
well, she'll cameo in stuff.
Superman Legacy, I guess.
Although James Gunn said that she's not going to be in Superman.
Okay, well, she's definitely going to be in Superman Legacy.
Well, he said he wrote the script and she's not in it.
Okay, well, why are you casting this now if she's not in it?
I think they just want to get all their big characters cast. Because they know that they're good.
I know Supergirl is gearing up to probably go into production later this year. I think that's like the next thing up for movies for them.
Supergirl is coming out before
No, Superman's coming out before everything else.
Superman's shooting?
Superman's supposed to start shooting like this month.
Yeah.
Supergirl is like a couple months away. I think he put out a thing on his personal social media website. Threads. Which only he uses.
James Gunn social media.
The James Gunn social media. And
it became the Jeremy Renner app for James Gunn.
For James Gunn.
Like, my entire For You page is just people asking James Gunn things.
Dude, I'm like, James, one, I don't know how this man does as much work as he does.
While responding to literally every single person.
I was literally, if you read his threads, he's like, okay, I'm in pre-production scouting locations for Superman Legacy. Also, we cast this person. Also, I'm writing the script for Peacemaker right now. And at the same time, I'm replying to a bunch of morons on threads tweeting me. I'm like, dude, how do you have time for this?
He reminds me of Hideo Kojima in the way that he just literally says every single thought he has on me.
Yeah. It's like, dude, you don't have to reply to these, right? The people asking,
it's an option.
The people asking like, hey, when are we gonna look at Superman's costume? Just don't reply.
And he goes like, Monday.
Just don't, James. Just it's fine. Most people on the internet are stupid and just wanting attention.
Dude, remember when he used to tweet insane things and now he only tweets normal
things?
Sam,
he's very aware that he used to tweet insane things because he got him fired from a major movie.
Yeah, but then he got him unfired almost immediately.
Yes, because everyone forgot about it. So it was fine.
It was only a little bit super weird.
They weren't supportive of a Republican, so we'll let it go.
Alrighty. What's next? Jurassic World?
Sam, remember Jurassic World Dominion, a movie we both love?
How could I forget?
They're making another one.
Oh, joy.
Screenwriter David Cope is writing the script. They're calling this a new era in the Jurassic franchise. They're expecting no original characters to return, not Chris Pratt.
They should expect no returns.
No Bryce Dallas Howard, no any of the Jurassic Park
in these
movies. No Goldblum, none of that. All new characters for more dinosaur action. I think it would be... I mean...
That's my reaction.
People love these movies, man.
No, they don't.
They all make $1 billion,
They love the first one.
But they all make
and they love the first Jurassic World. And they completely forget that the rest exists.
Why? I don't think I've met...
Alan,
I know.
I'm a raptor, Alan.
Jurassic World.
Remember when I go, Alan?
I remember. I've seen Jurassic Park 3, Sam. Thank you.
He goes, Alan.
He does go, Alan. Like
nature finds a way.
Nature does find a way.
Nature finds a way to keep making these movies.
All of the Jurassic World movies made $1 billion.
Yes, because people like dinosaurs.
And I don't think I have no recollection of meeting anyone who's seen them.
You want to know why?
I know people have seen the first one.
You want to know why you haven't met the people who've seen this movie?
Is it because they all live in China?
No, it's because they're all 4 years old.
Okay, that tracks.
Okay.
God, Jurassic World Dominion was so bad.
How many big-name dinosaur franchises can you name?
One.
You want to know why?
Because it's this one.
All the other ones, except for, I guess, A Land Before Time. Dinosaur
That's
franchise.
okay.
All the other ones are just knockoffs of Jurassic Park. So when they make a dinosaur movie, this is like the name brand dinosaur. So all of the 5-year-old kids who love dinosaurs are like, Mom.
It's crazy to me how timeless certain aspects of like Hollywooded movies are.
Dude,
where like there will be these massive fads, And then stuff as simple as big monkey and dinosaur will just have these decades-spanning cinematic careers.
Big Lizard is the penultimate fixture in human culture.
Big Lizard.
In every single culture on Earth,
there's a big lizard.
Eventually, they create a myth or a story about a big lizard.
That's our peak, dude.
Sometimes we call them dragons. Sometimes we call them dinosaurs. Sometimes we call them
Godzilla.
Sometimes we call them Godzilla. But every single culture,
at some point,
in the world,
creates a big
lizard. Some point, creates a story about a big lizard. I don't know why. Scientists don't know why. But they did like research where like if you take a group of children and you were to like have them like make a little civilization on their own,
big lizard.
There is almost a 100% chance that they will eventually develop a myth about a big lizard.
What is it about lizards? Why are we so intrigued by lizards?
Because the big lizards.
They don't do anything.
But they're so
cool. Aren't they?
Yeah.
Why do we like lizards so much?
When they're flying, they make rain and fire.
But they don't do that.
But in Game of Thrones, they do.
I guess that's true.
Anyway, what's next?
Top Gun 3 is happening. The most inevitable news story of all time.
All right, cool. Do we know anything about it?
They're trying to get everyone back.
All right, sweet. Next, Oscar stuff.
Sam, Oscar nominations came out.
Let me get the Oscar thing pulled up.
I probably won't go through all the categories and pick them yet. I think we'll probably do that closer to the actual show, because it's this show. The Oscars are in March for some reason.
Well, there are some. We got to talk about the Taylor Swift.
Yeah. So there were people whining.
Not the Barbie one. No.
People were whining that Margot Robbie was not nominated for Best Actress in Barbie, and Greta Gerwig was not nominated for Best Director for Barbie.
Okay, so
I think...
Well, okay, but there was one other part of this. They were mad that Ken was nominated. Because man nominated for a girl movie? What?
I like how people were claiming sexism, like...
No, wait, you're not allowed to have man nominate a girl movie. Remember all the boy movies? They can't nominate. They never nominate.
That would be any sort of legitimate complaint if Ryan Gosling got nominated over Margot Robbie, but Margot Robbie was not nominated in a category.
Actor. Because number one, she's an actress, so she'd be in the actress category.
Yes.
And number two, she's not a supporting actor. Yeah. She's the lead.
The person that got nominated over her is also a woman. Yes. So what is that argument?
So are you mad that a woman lost to another different woman? Also, shout out, the first Native American woman to ever be nominated, to my knowledge, Lily Gladstone. Mm-hmm. Where's the hype?
Put Margot Robbie over her, dude. We need another blonde white lady. That's progress.
That's the problem.
When there's not enough white blonde ladies.
The diversity is the wrong kind. I don't like it.
Wrong kind of diversity.
I only like diversity when it's the kind that I
like. I guess the Greta Gerwig for director, though, I do think there's an argument to be made there that like the Barbie movie works at all and like it shouldn't.
Okay, but you could also make that argument for the Lego movie. They weren't nominated for Best Director when they did that.
Sure.
And it's the same.
But
those
like
two movies are the same.
Looking at the nominees for Best Director, like who honestly would you take out here? You have Justine Triet, who is a French director and also a woman, right? You have a female nominee. You're not going to remove her. Yes. Greta Gerwig there. Martin Scorsese. You're not going to take out Martin.
You're not taking out Martin.
Christopher Nolan, who's going to win. Obviously, you're not taking him out.
Sorry.
Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things. The Academy really likes it. It's odd. He's a foreign
keep seeing
man.
ads for it, and it's making me want to watch the movie less.
Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest. Really unique movie that is apparently really well made. I haven't seen it yet.
Yes.
Like, yeah, okay, maybe there's a couple guys you could argue here, but like there's nothing like about Greta Gerwig's direction in that where it's like, this should be nominated no matter what. There's no argument to be made. It's the best direction of the year.
What she did was impressive.
Yeah.
But it was impressive because it was a really, really good commercial for Barbie dolls. If it was not a Barbie commercial, it would have just been like an average sort of pop feminist movie.
Yeah.
But because it was sort of being weighed down by the perception that it was a commercial for Barbie dolls, it is a very impressive feat.
Yeah.
But that doesn't like change the fact that it is still, at the end of the day,
a commercial for
Barbie dolls, and also like
now,
a decent movie.
America Ferrera snuck her way in to a Best Supporting Actress nomination,
which, by the way, would be the comparable nomination compared to Ken.
Yeah.
So, like, again, this doesn't. Do they not care just because, like, they forgot he was in the movie?
I don't know.
I don't understand.
But in terms of the entire Oscars, I'm really not upset about any of these nominations. I think most of them are fine and deserved. I will say now, my month-out prediction from the actual Oscars, Oppenheimer is probably going to sweep almost every category it's nominated in.
Yeah.
I'm saying right now it's going to win Best Picture. It's going to win Best Director. It's a 50% chance it wins Best Actor. It's going to get Best Supporting Actor. It's going to get Best Adapted Screenplay. Most of the technical categories it's going to get score. It's going to get sound. It's going to get production design. It's going to get cinematography. It's going to get visual effects. Like, it's going to win all of those things.
Visual effects?
I think it's 100%.
Wait, what else is nominated for visual effects?
The Creator, which I think if I had to pick one to actually win, I think it would be that one.
That movie had insanely good special effects.
Godzilla -1.
Again, for the budget, insane special effects.
Guardians 3, good.
Marvel movies always have good effects.
Well, that's not true anymore. That one had good effects. Mission Impossible, sure.
Okay.
Napoleon,
special, okay.
Sure.
Yeah, again, nothing special.
Oh wait, it's not nominated. I thought it was.
Napoleon's not nominated?
No, Oppenheimer's not nominated.
Oh. Well, yeah, because those ones all.
Interesting. I thought it was. Never mind.
Oppenheimer had a good effect.
Yeah.
But everything else was practical.
But no, it's gonna clear all the major categories. It's gonna get picture, director, screenplay, supporting actor, and probably best actor as well. It's gonna sweep all those categories.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's going to be the Oppenheimer. It's going to be the year of Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Oscars. So we have that to look forward to, and a lot of people will be very mad that Barbie won't win. But Barbie made $1.4 billion. So I don't think they're really that torn up about it.
I think they're winning either way. Is that
That's
it?
all I have.
Okay. We have review. We did the movie. We can talk about Percy Jackson and Echo.
Sure, we'll talk about it real quick.
Echo, I have much less to say about Percy Jackson.
Echo,
I actually care about Percy Jackson, and I've been waiting for this show for a long time.
Yeah.
So I have thoughts on it.
Echo, though.
And how on earth have we not made an episode since like the first episode? That means it's been like 5 weeks.
No, it did come out. We just didn't really talk about it.
Only the first 2 episodes were out when last time we were.
Yeah.
It means it's been like 4 weeks.
We're recording like a month. Honestly,
it's
not.
We kind of skipped.
Nothing's been going on.
We kind of skipped January.
I mean,
what was I talking? What was I thinking?
Let's talk about Echo real quick.
Yeah, Echo first because.
So I thought this show was mostly not great. It felt extraordinarily rushed. Like this was like a 10-episode pitch that literally got cut in half to 5 episodes. This is like a fine TV show setup that they just like can't do.
Is it though? I think the setup was its biggest problem. Because what even is the setup?
Echo's around.
Echo.
She's doing things.
Kingpin, but
yeah,
he's in another city from her.
There's
so
a fine setup.
Never fight.
There's a fine setup in my brain I had for this, thinking while watching it. Actually, being serious. While watching it, I was like, okay, what's like an actual like. Just like spitballing, what's an Echo TV series that you could do and would work, right?
Just copy Daredevil.
Yeah, well, kinda. You do Daredevil, but in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Like, she's from New York. She thinks she's killed Kingpin. She comes back home. She's got all of her old friends there. And while she's there, and she's reconnecting with her roots and reckoning with her past, it turns out some former allies of Kingpin
filled the power vacuum.
I've set up like a criminal underground in this Oklahoma.
They've got like an outpost.
Yeah, and she's got to like figure out how to take him down with her and like her buddies.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's your setup of this.
And then at the end of the show,
at the very end, you reveal he's still alive.
Yeah.
And maybe they have one scene
by having him just straight up announce he's running for mayor.
Yeah.
Instead of having him see on a TV screen that there is an election going on, and him going,
maybe I'll do that.
Maybe I can be mayor.
Yeah.
Like, what?
But like that would be like your 10 episodes of Echo TV show, right?
Also, didn't he run for mayor in the Daredevil show?
I don't remember.
I thought he did.
I only watched the first season of the Daredevil show.
I watched the first 3.
I was going to watch, and I still probably will watch the other 2, but there's so many of those Defenders shows.
I didn't watch any of the others.
And they came out in such a weird order.
I watched
that I don't want to watch them.
I didn't watch any of the other ones. I watched the first 3 seasons of Daredevil, and I did this recently because I was just like, this was like over the summer, I think, and I was bored and had nothing else to do, so I watched Daredevil. And again, this was like side monitor while I was playing Fortnite. So
of course,
it is actually a really good show.
Yeah,
I understand
the first
why. Still to this day, it has a really active fan base.
Mm-hmm.
Season 4 picks up after the Defenders. And I didn't want to watch Defenders, so I tried to just watch season 4, and I'm like, you know what? I'll just try and figure out what's going on. I couldn't figure out what was going on.
Yeah, that was my thing.
They resolve all of the plot points that they set up
in season 2 in
Defenders.
Yeah.
So I was like, what?
What's
going on?
I was too scared. I was like, I don't want to start season 2 and then
have to commit
and then have to go and watch like season 1 of Iron Fist to understand what's going on.
Yeah, I'm not watching.
I'm just straight up not doing that. Like, that's not going to happen. What's most likely the thing I'll do is watch season 2 and then find like a YouTube recap video
that explains what happened.
I'll watch that, and then I'll maybe watch season 3.
Yeah,
but
there are 3 or 4 seasons.
There's 3, I think.
I thought there were 4.
But yeah, no, Echo, like, this could work as a show. But, like, the version of this that we got where...
Can it, though?
It's... Like, if...
I don't know if Echo...
This show doesn't work. But, like, you could do something with this. Like, it's not... Like, there's not nothing here.
Her character arc finished in Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Like, there were no loose ends until they invented loose ends in this show. And the way that they invent the loose ends is by undoing her actions from Hawkeye.
Yeah, where she doesn't kill him.
Yeah.
So what's the point?
What was the point?
Because she can't die because we have to do more shows with Kingpin in them.
He can't die because Daredevil has to.
Because we have to make Daredevil born again. Yeah, no, it was just... I mean, it's been a while since I've watched it. But what I remember is... the way that her powers are explained and set up and executed are really stupid and just kind of out of left field.
She's the Avatar.
Yeah, she's got Avatar powers. But
she doesn't actually... You know how the Avatar has powers in Avatar? So she just doesn't get to have the powers. She just has the, like...
What an odd thing where, like, she has the powers of, like, former Native American women. But
only one of them
they were just people. Like, they don't have, like, they can't shoot lasers or anything.
Like, one of them was good at shooting.
Yes. One of them was good at lacrosse.
One of them was good at lacrosse.
Yes.
One of them
was an alien woman?
One of them was an alien.
Why were they aliens?
I don't know. And then one of them actually did have magic powers.
Yeah.
Just for
glowing circles on the heads.
You could do this and
heal people or something.
And cure your childhood trauma.
Yeah. Just odd. There was one kind of interesting thing or unique thing that I thought was like, oh, that's kind of neat. Is that, like, a few of the episodes start with, like, the flashbacks to the certain, like, ancestors. And they're, like, and each one's, like, in, like, a different style. So, like, the lacrosse one's, like, this wider frame. And it's, like, this, like, fisheye type lens. And the camera's moving around a lot. And there's another one that's, like, an old silent film where it's, like, black and white. I was like, okay,
yeah,
if this was like 8 episodes and each episode started like that and they were all different and we slowly set up these ancestors over time and then when you got to the finale, like, they're all used, like, that would be cool. Yeah, but it's so short, like, only 2 of the episodes start that way. And so they just kind of feel weird and out of place.
Yeah, I skipped those parts because I was so bored. I was like, I don't care about knockoff Annie Oakley. I'm just going to skip that and get to the show that I'm watching. Because they use it so little.
Mm-hmm.
All that I need to know, she was good at shooting. And as soon as, like, later on in the episode, they're like, don't you remember our ancestor who was good at shooting? And I'm like, okay, so I didn't need to watch that.
I got it.
Thanks, I figured it out from him telling me that. Okay, cool. And it was cool that they did that, but they didn't do it in a way that was interesting enough that made me.
Yeah, it just felt like a show that was just killing time until Kingpin could show up.
Yeah, and then when he showed up, nothing happened.
Like, they just do 3 episodes of her just kind of running around town talking to people.
Remember when he makes the magic sign language earbud?
I do. Because Vincent D'Onofrio didn't want to learn sign language.
Why didn't he do that before? Why didn't he do that? Why didn't he give her that before?
I don't know.
When, remember when he was raising her?
Yep.
Did he not learn sign language when he was raising her?
No.
Or did he have that interpreter woman?
He had that interpreter woman in here. Which in the show.
Why did he kill her?
Because she knew too much, I guess. I don't know.
She didn't know anything. Oh my gosh, Echo is like the most normal employee of his.
Yeah.
All of his employees.
He doesn't tell her anything. What would she know?
Yeah, she didn't know anything.
Yeah. I don't know. But like, I'm pretty sure they bring it up in the show that he never learned it, but I'm 90% sure that was just Vincent D'Onofrio being like, I don't want to learn to do the sign language stuff. Can I just talk?
He could have just learned like the lines. He didn't need to learn.
I know, but I'm not. But like, dude, he's just like, can I just talk and you guys figure the rest out later?
I did think it was cool that they had her actual cousin or niece or whatever play like the younger version of herself.
Oh, is that what happened?
Because that's why they look so similar.
Oh,
because when it was the little girl, I was like, wow, like,
they do. Yeah,
the little girl looks exactly like her. And I think it was like literally like her little cousin or her little sister.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Oh, that's actually really cool. Yeah. And that's why she also knew sign language because like she's related and they have to talk to each other.
But yeah, no, I just thought the show was just mostly like killing time and spinning its wheels. Not really because, again, not because they couldn't figure out anything to do, but just because like the show was so short, they didn't have time to like finish and resolve any arcs.
Yeah, what was
so they were just. Grandma? What was up with the friend? Like she has like the best friend character.
Oh, yeah. And she's like, I didn't want to talk to
you. And she shows up in like 2 episodes. It just doesn't do anything.
Well, because Echo was like, I don't want to drag her into this. I'm not going to say anything to her. And then she just finds out and goes, why didn't you say anything to me? And she goes, let's fight these guys. And then they're fine.
Again, these are like things you would do in a TV show if you had like any time to do any of them.
And then there's the grandma who was like, I don't like you because your dad was weird or something. Oh, never mind. Now I do. And I was like, huh? What? Why did you do this?
Super suit. That's just like some leather with some feathers on it or something.
Her suit. I'm sorry.
It looks bad.
Suit is so lame.
Looks so lame.
It's so. Dude, they could have made such. You know how cool you could make a Native American inspired superhero suit?
That's true.
Dude, oh my gosh.
They got like colors.
The aesthetic of like Native American like regalia is such a good aesthetic.
Yeah.
It looks so cool. And they didn't.
Why did they use
just didn't do it?
Just a mix of brown and like the dullest colors imaginable for the costume.
Dude, she looks like she's cosplaying as an owl.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, it's a barn owl. Watch out.
Like, also, what is she gonna do? Like, who is she gonna fight? Is she gonna show up in
That's the problem.
Is she gonna show up in Secret Wars and like summon her lacrosse abilities?
That's like the biggest problem.
What is she gonna do
with this character in general? Is she has no rogues gallery at all. All of her rogues are just other characters' rogues.
Kingpin's goons.
She is the Legends of Tomorrow of the Marvel universe.
I mean,
she fights their leftovers,
and she doesn't have like any real powers. Really? Like, what can she actually... She can heal people, I guess, maybe?
She can heal your childhood trauma. Dude, you know how OP that is, actually?
For the Marvel Universe?
Dude, you go up to any villain.
She shows up...
Boom, done.
Yeah.
It's over.
Or like any of the X-Men. Boom, fixed.
Boom, you're fixed.
Yeah.
You're good.
Wolverine, Loop, man's
cured. He's normal now.
Like, yeah, he's a normal dude. He's normal now. But yeah, no, it was just a really like awkward show. I don't feel like there's nothing you could do with that. It just felt like they just didn't want to. Like they just wanted to do like a show.
They wanted to wrap. It felt like they wanted to.
It felt like the second they started, they were just like, all right, let's wrap this up.
Remember when they have the powwow and that guy brings a rocket launcher?
Yeah, remember when the third act of the show is just Kingpin decides to blow up a festival for no reason?
For no reason.
Literally, because just to be mean.
He shows up.
He has no plan. No one has any goals.
He shows up, and his adopted daughter, like, disrespect. His adopted daughter's already shot him in the face.
Yeah.
But he's, like, chill about that. He's actually cool with that. He's like, that's okay. Fine. And then she, like, tells him to go away, and he's like, this will not stand. Absolutely, I'm blowing up your family. And I was like,
what?
huh? Shot in the face?
Fine.
Light work, no reaction.
Mean words?
Someone tells me to leave. I'm going to eliminate your bloodline. Huh?
Again, it just felt like that was probably like an arc that was set up over the course of episodes. And they just didn't. They just had to.
Also,
they just had to skip to the part where he was blowing up festivals.
They had the wrong. It was the wrong hammer.
Maybe Kingpin just found
it's
a
the
different
wrong
one.
hammer.
They didn't watch Daredevil.
Do you know how? No, but they picked. If they were to go to Home Depot and buy like the first hammer on the shelf, it would have been the right.
Why
kind
did they
of
pick
hammer.
such a weird hammer?
But they picked a weird hammer.
Why did you do that?
They could have just done a regular hammer.
I don't know.
Dumb show.
Dumb show.
All right, Percy
like
Jackson. Yeah.
Mid show.
Very mid.
Very mid.
Ultimate mid. Let's talk about Percy Jackson.
Yeah. I was saying Percy Jackson was mid. I said Echo was bad. Percy Jackson.
Percy
mid.
Jackson was mid.
Mm-hmm.
But the fan base is so desperate,
dude,
for anything.
I'm sorry. I can't believe the Percy Jackson glaze that has been the glazing that's been going on from the Percy Jackson fans.
But I can't even blame them.
They're just so desperate.
They just want anything.
Like literally,
they want just anything.
If this had been the movie, if this had been the thing that came out in 2010 or 11 or whenever that first movie came out, this would be vitriolically hated.
Yeah.
But because they did those movies and because they've done nothing with the Percy Jackson property.
All this show had to do to be regarded as amazing
was like the bare minimum.
Slightly better than the movie.
Which it is.
It is. It's definitely better. It's way better than the movies.
Yeah.
It's still not.
Although the movies somehow managed to do some things better than this.
That we'll get. I'm sure we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I am not disappointed in what we got.
Yeah.
Because I think it actually does do a pretty good job of retelling the books.
At a rapid pace.
The pacing is terrible.
Yeah,
that's the biggest problem
absolutely
with the show.
terrible pacing.
But like the characters are really good. I like this cast. They're very strong. Sometimes their characterization is a little different from the books, which is okay. I'm not super hung up on.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they underplayed some elements that I think they should not have. They like the stepdad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the movies did it better.
Yeah.
The movies made him way much more of a terrible guy.
I think
because again, this is a guy that has to be so evil
that he deserves to die.
He deserves to die.
Yeah.
And they did not make him evil enough.
Yeah.
Which I can't necessarily blame them because this is a Disney show for 10
which
is
is
13-year-olds.
Honestly, as a person who like was very young and like grew up reading those books, like I feel like, and I reread The Lightning Thief before this came out just to have it like real fresh on my mind since I was like 8 when I read all those. And honestly, watching this, I almost felt like really nothing because I was just like, you know what? This is a show primarily for like 9-year-olds, really. And I can't really be upset that the Disney show, like Disney channeled this.
Yeah.
Because like honestly, what was I expecting? And reading those books, you will never be able to make a truly good to great adaptation without doing 13 episodes of a $250 million budget show. Like,
yeah, I agree.
To get
you need like a Game of
get
Thrones
like the writers and the visual effects and the cast to make like a really, really good version of each of those books, you would need an insane amount of money. And I'm honestly shocked at the stuff they were able to pull off in this, like, location-wise. Because
I think all the effects are actually
the
really
most
good.
expensive part of television production is sets.
Mm-hmm.
The reason certain shows a lot of the time get picked up and don't get picked up is because of sets.
The locations. Yeah.
And the Percy Jackson books, each book
have insane locations.
is every chapter they're going to a new crazy place.
And Rick Riordan is so good at like making those places feel real. He's so good at bringing you to that place. And so when it doesn't look the way that he described it, There's a big disconnect there, and I think this show actually did
It does a mostly okay job. My big, in terms of the locations, Hades and
I think everywhere else was pretty good.
Olympus were both lame.
Olympus was lame
again
because they gave us the wrong version of it.
Yeah.
This is so, and it's because of the way that they changed the ending. So, if you remember, the gods are all gone from Olympus.
Yeah, they're none of them.
Heroes of Olympus books, when he goes there like later on.
Yeah.
And it's only the goddess of the hearth who's still there. And they have like a nice little conversation. That's the version of Olympus that we see in the show. But when he goes there in the Lightning Thief, at least I think this might be making it up, but I'm pretty sure they're there.
So when at the end of the Lightning Thief he shows up to Mount Olympus and he goes to like the throne room and the only people there are
the Big 12, right?
No, it's just Poseidon and Zeus.
Okay, so it is like
because they haven't started the war yet, which was the thing they changed in this, where like
and actually I was okay with that for this because the gods are all gone because they are preparing for war because the war is actually on. I changed my mind on that change. I think the way that the way that the last episode went, I actually think that is a much more interesting sort of plot device, and it makes Poseidon much more interesting as a character because of the way that they ended that.
It definitely makes him a lot nicer than he ever was in the first book.
But I think that that's a good change because it was always a little weird that Poseidon was like so mean to Percy, but like so gracious with how much authority he gave Percy Jackson.
So a big change in this as compared to the books is the involvement and role of the gods
as parents.
In the first book in the book at all as compared to this. One, they're in it more. And two, they're so much nicer in this show than they are in the books. Like a big
Well, okay, I think it's just really
a big plot point,
sort of maybe Hephaestus.
A big like recurring thing in the books is that the gods are mostly like super neglectful and they don't care.
Yeah,
like they're super disconnected from humanity. Half the time they could give a crap whether or not they like die in mass numbers.
Yeah,
like they don't really care about anything. And in the book, most of the kids that came Half-Blood aren't claimed. Poseidon really, and it's sort of alluded to that like Poseidon cares about Percy a little bit,
more than most of the guys.
But he really only claims him because like he needs him to do something.
Yeah,
and so like this is a convenient time for this all to happen for him. In the show, it's made very clear that like he really loves Percy, and
but
that
I'm
like
okay with that change. I don't mind that because
it makes him more likable. But I don't.
But because of the way that we have all of the books now. When the Lightning Thief was written, we didn't have all of the future books. Because of the way that we know their relationship is later on, it does make more sense for Poseidon to actually like Percy a little bit. Or like him a lot, even a lot. In this one, he kind of likes him a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that actually narratively does make more sense. Because their powers are almost completely derived from how much authority their parent gives them over their powers. And so, keep in mind, Percy Jackson, in his first book, solos Ares.
Yeah.
That is a crazy feat. That is an insane feat in the context of the world.
Yeah.
I think that actually makes it make a little bit more sense if Poseidon actually does like him.
Which I actually liked. I thought the guy that cast as Ares was good. I liked.
Yeah, he was. I think all of the gods, except Hephaestus, I think all of the gods' casting is really good. Hephaestus needs to look like a mutant goblin man.
Dude, he needs to be a guy who's like 4'11" and like fat and bald and like with weird burns and scars on his face.
But in this movie, he's
just a guy. Dude.
He's like a British.
Because like the whole reason Aphrodite.
What did he look like in Percy Jackson? Did we get a description of him?
I don't remember. Yeah, no, they talk about it. They talk about how he's like a little ugly man because he has like no hair and stuff because he's working in a forge all day.
Yeah.
Because like the whole idea
he should have looked like he did in the Rick and Morty episode.
Yeah, the whole reason that Aphrodite cheats on him is because he's ugly.
Yeah.
And Ares is like a big muscle dude.
And like, and what's a And she's like super superficial because she's the goddess of beauty.
Of beauty. And so like that's a big point. But in this, like, he's just a guy, and he's just hanging out at the theme park he made, which the whole reason
he's just sitting around.
The whole reason he made the theme park in the book was to catch Aphrodite and Ares, because that's just like a thing they do all the time. Because the gods. Another thing in the Percy Jackson books, and this is true in Greek mythology in general, is the gods are all like super petty.
Yeah.
And they're just constantly bickering with each other.
And that's why they're always going to war.
They're these all-powerful beings that are just constantly like poking each other. Like little kids in the backseat of a car.
I was okay with what they did with Hephaestus in this, because I think I appreciate the theme that they are pursuing with this arc. That Percy Jackson is different. He breaks the mold of the traditional Olympian. He actually does give a crap about the world around him because he was raised in the outside world, and that made him different. And so when Hephaestus sees maybe we can change, because keep in mind Hephaestus has lived his whole life with his family, he doesn't know that this is an option. So when he sees Percy Jackson make a sacrifice for his cousin Iran, Hephaestus is like, oh, maybe we can like actually be not awful to each other. Maybe this is a real choice. Yeah. And he lets him go. I was okay with that because I appreciate that. I thought it was a nice thematic moment. My only real problem was that Hephaestus doesn't look like a goblin.
He should be a goblin man. Honestly, after I finished the last episode, I was thinking about like just like what was missing from this. And I realized it was like the humor.
The fun. The fun was
missing. The fun. And I think...
And it's a Disney show.
And honestly, no, I was watching it and I was like, I understand why it's not here. Because those books are from Percy's perspective.
Yeah.
And Percy's view on stuff is very like wry and irreverent and sarcastic. And because you're not constantly under that internal... Because like the things that are happening in Percy Jackson, a lot of the times aren't funny. It's his interpretation of stuff that is making it humorous. So when you're not locked behind that perspective and you have to have it be in a third person point of view, like you can't, like that stuff is inherently missing. Yeah. So because of that, it feels very dry and lifeless. And then that coupled that with the pacing being so bad.
The pacing was so off.
Which is honestly really shocking, because rereading The Lightning Thief, the pacing of those books is, I think, the reason they actually were as successful as they were.
It was a masterful blend of like teenage romance drama and action.
Because they are constantly moving. Like there's constantly something happening in those books. It's like it's funnily enough like very ADD. Like
because they're either having a big action set piece event going on. There's a big fight, or there is like interesting romantic tension.
There's always something going on. There's always like characters interacting. There's always like stakes. There's always that ticking clock element. And even in this, like the ticking clock, I just didn't really feel the effect of. I
kind of ignore it completely.
I never really felt like we were really being pressured to make this deadline. I never really felt like the characters had any sense of urgency at all.
I think it, from Percy's perspective, that makes a little bit of sense, because number one, he doesn't even know what's going on. So he doesn't understand what the stakes of this are. Okay, so Zeus doesn't get his bolt in time. Who is even Zeus? I've never met a Zeus. I didn't know Zeus was real until yesterday. Why should I care if I'm late? Like, so I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. And yeah, I don't know. The pacing was definitely off, like especially in the casino episode. I think that was the worst case.
Yeah.
Because number one, the episode is called "We Take a Zebra to Vegas." They didn't even do that. No. There's no zebra.
There's no zebra. What are you doing?
They didn't have the part where he talks to the horse.
No. Honestly, that was the most shocking thing to me, was they cut that whole scene out.
How
where they're talking to the animals, because I was, again, rereading that book, I was like, oh, a large part of this is an environmentalism metaphor.
Yeah.
That is a major part of what Percy Jackson is, like as a property.
I mean, the whole search for Pan thing.
that is entirely an environmentalism thing, and like the whole
nature is
climate
dying,
disasters thing.
Pan has disappeared.
There's massive climate disasters, like all of that.
Yeah,
that is all a very obvious. Rick Riordan's a very political guy.
Yeah,
inherently, so that's very obviously a thing that like he really focused on in those books, and just for that to just not be in this at all,
very weird,
or just was very odd.
And that also, again, that takes a lot of the opportunity for humor to occur. And you know what? I think I understand why they did it. I think tonally for this show, if Percy Jackson were to strum a conversation with a horse, that would have been really awkward.
Well, because the tone it should be is not there.
Because they sucked all the fun out.
Yeah.
Except for the Minotaur in his underwear. They kept that in. But because they sucked all the other fun out, that was really out of place.
It was out of place.
And because it was in the first episode, I was like, okay, well, it's Percy Jackson, Minotaur's in his underwear, sure. But they didn't do any of the other funny stuff. So I was like, wait, okay, then that was just weird.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about the biggest change. The two biggest changes. The pearls and the deadline. So, with the pearls in the books, he falls off the St. Louis Arch.
Yep.
Rick Riordan forgets where it is, so he just falls straight in somehow. In the show, Poseidon saves him
that was a good change.
Blooping him with the water.
He bloops him in.
Which
makes actual
sense. Obviously, because there's no way he could make that jump. That's insane. I mean, he actually is physically strong enough. He probably could have, but not at that point in the story.
He's 12.
And a nymph in the water gives him the pearls, and she gives him 3. One for him.
Well, he gets those at the beach in Santa Monica, but whatever. It's the same nymph. It's the same, pretty much the same scene. So it's fine. It's whatever.
I think in this, was it in the? I thought it was in the St. Louis River in the book.
No, in the St. Louis River, she just tells him to go Santa Monica.
Okay, I guess I was combining those in my head, but anyway, he gets
they're basically the same scene.
He gets the pearls from the nymph.
Yeah,
and she gives him 3: one for Grover, one for Annabeth, and one for himself. Now, in this version of the story, in the TV, in the Disney, in this one, Poseidon cares about his mom, so he gives him 4.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Grover loses.
If you're going to make that change, that makes sense. So I'm okay with that because we decided in this version of this story, Poseidon cares a little bit more about Percy Jackson, and that I totally buy that.
They even talk to each other, which is not a thing they did in the books at all. If they didn't make
both of those, and I think that this was really smart. I give this show the credit for this. They had to make both of those changes for Poseidon's character to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they miss the deadline, war's on. And they don't really back down from that. They don't say, all right, never mind. Poseidon surrenders. That is a big change.
Yeah.
And that shows one thing, it shows it kind of fulfills the arc from earlier that Percy Jackson is different, and him being different is having ripple effects in how the gods are behaving, which I think is interesting. And 2, I think it could have implications for stuff later on, because now Poseidon has surrendered to Zeus. What does that entail? What does that mean for the power balance of the gods? Now that he's does he have to give him concessions? If so, what does that make Percy Jackson less powerful? What does that entail, really?
Mm-hmm.
So, I am interested to see if they go down that route. I think that could be really interesting. I don't know if they will. But they could use that
Probably
to be
not.
Well, this is why Percy Jackson is less powerful. This is why he's not soloing every character, because he's got limits now. Because Zeus is being your dad's on early bedtime mode or whatever.
But mostly during the show, I was just feeling nothing. I don't know. I was just maybe there's the version of this in my brain
will always be better than the version.
It'll always be better, and they'll never do that.
But why do the Harry Potter fans get to have that?
Well, because Sam, theirs is the best-selling series of all time, and
why
they got
Game of Thrones
$200
fans get
million
to have that for a little bit of time?
I don't know. I'm just
why
it's
does
whatever.
Only ours one suck? Why didn't we read one of those books when we were kids instead of this one?
We
picked the one that gets the worst adaptations. Harry Potter's getting another adaptation.
Yep, just for funsies.
Just because why?
Just for I don't know.
Sucks.
I mean, they'll probably do a season 2. It did pretty well.
They'll make a season 2. This show did big numbers.
It's not going to look good because they're going to have to shoot that entire season on the volume.
Yeah, because it's all going to be...
Which they shot most of this in the volume, and honestly, I can't... The volume is so hard for me to look at.
Does Talia show up in the second book?
Yeah.
I thought she didn't show up until, like, way later.
At the very... Oh, Talia. Talia shows up at the very, very end.
Yeah, because they come back with the...
Because they come back with the police entry. But no, she's not a character until the
third book. Because I was trying to remember when she actually shows up in the story.
Yeah, no, it's like the third book.
Remember in the movie when they bring her back and they're like, we're going to make a third one and she's going to be in it? And
yeah, they just don't. Because the movie didn't make any money.
It was a good, funny time.
Anyway, Percy Jackson.
That's it for the Percy Jackson.
For now, until the next season.
Until season 2.
In 4 years.
Alright, do we have anything else? I don't really want to talk about the state of play anymore. I don't care. Kojima's making some stuff. That's all.
Alright, whatever. We'll be back next week for whatever news happens. Sure. But if you want to watch our Argyle review or our Mean Girls review, those are both in the description. Thank you so much for listening to this. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere you get your audio podcasts. Also on YouTube. It's probably where you want.
All the places where podcasts are. Yeah. You know them.
Comment, subscribe, do all the things that every YouTuber's been yelling.
And check out our Argyle review on.
I already said that.
Yeah, but I'm saying it again. We gotta shout it out twice.
Like it twice.
You would double like.
Subscribe
actually, don't
twice.
like it twice because then you'll unlike it.
Well, I don't care. It boosts engagement either way.
Dislike it actually. That boosts engagement even more.
Yes, and we won't be able to. You won't even know how many people dislike.
Yeah, you'll never know.
Remember when everyone got mad about that, and then our life just went on.
Well, yeah, because they're not going to stop. Okay, YouTube's a monopoly. What are they going to stop watching YouTube?
Yeah.
No.
YouTube's almost 20 years old.
2000. Yeah, 2 more years.
Next year we'll turn 20.
Allowed to drive and get married. You don't really get a lot of stuff at 18 anymore.
No, you can vote.
Yeah, but that doesn't really matter.
Don't vote, kids.